Right then, hello there, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Yes, I'm officially wearing a grey t-shirt, because t-shirts, but there you go. Let's start talking sense, shall we? My name is Paul, I'm also called Knick-Knack, I'm also called Uncle Paul by my nephew, whose channel I'll try and put up here. That way you can go see what Jude is doing. I'm also the chap behind Knick-Knack's Daily Teaser, which is a fun daily teaser quiz. I'm also the chap that does a lot of TV reviews and a lot of movie reviews. Just recently, I've been watching the second series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is possibly one of the more impressive shows I've seen. And I've also seen its last episode, Hegemony, and wanted to tell you about it. It's rather impressive, both as an episode and as a finale. Episode 10, Hegemony, opens with a usual summary of earlier episodes and then shifts to show us Captain Marie Battelle, played by Melanie Scrofano, recording a log entry for stardate 2344.2 and telling us that she and her ship, the USS Cayuga, are currently in orbit around Parnassus Beta, delivering aid to a newly settled colony. Captain Battelle's mission is accompanied by Nurse Christine Chapel, Jess Bush, of the Enterprise, as Nurse Chapel is offered to help with the Federation's vaccination program on Parnassus Beta. It's only as the pair go their separate ways and Captain Battelle's and Pike's call is interrupted that problems start, as a shuttle from the Cayuga crashes nearby and ominous shadows race across the clouds. The scene switches to show us the Enterprise, where Uhura, Saleha Rose Gooding, picks up a distress signal from the now seriously embattled Cayuga, as the latter is under attack from the Gorn. Something that causes Captain Pike to head straight for Parnassus Beta with the Enterprise and to quietly contact his superior officer, Admiral April. Understandably, the Admiral is concerned Pike's feelings for Captain Battelle will get in the way of a rescue and potentially cause one hell of a war. It's only when the Enterprise arrives at Parnassus Beta it finds an unreachable colony orbited by the wreck of the Cayuga. Now, what did I make of the episode of both Hegemony? What did I make of the episode and the series it's a finale of? There is a lot probably to say about the episode. The obvious one is that it gives us a welcome reintroduction to Lieutenant Montgomery Scotty Scott. Originally played by James Doohan, the Strange New World version of the character is played by Martin Quinn, who I feel does quite a creditable job. He's a lot more restrained than some versions I could mention here, Simon Pegg's in particular. He's also the only person to pronounce lieutenant correctly. With that detail out of the way, it's nice to see the show introduce one of the classic series characters. It really is, especially in a way that's key to the plot of the episode. Scotty's designed an improvised cloaking device that will let him... Scotty's designed an improved cloaking device that lets him escape from the Gorn, knowledge that could prove useful in the Season 3 opener, which is when this story gets continued. We're also getting a reminder of the sort of things the character's capable of, the engineering abilities he's got, and in being told he was on the USS Stardiver and is one of Chief Engineer Pelia's best students, we're getting extra backstory on a character the original series made good use of, but didn't necessarily tell us much about. The story itself. As you know, I tend to prefer the darker episodes in the Star Trek franchise, which isn't to say Strange New Worlds hasn't done some good comedy belters. It has, especially in the shape of Those Old Scientists, the Lower Decks crossover, and Subspace Rhapsody, possibly the most musical Star Trek episode ever made. But while I enjoy some of the lighter episodes, I tend to prefer the darker ones, and Hegemony whilst not as doom-laden as Under the Cloak of War, is definitely a dark episode. One that goes for Aliens-style science fiction horror rather than the Vietnam War stylings that appear to have inspired Under the Cloak of War. Now I think of it, Alien, the original film, possibly a good one to mention. Certainly the franchise. The last Gorn-themed episodes of Strange New Worlds that I saw was the first season episode, All Those Who Wander. It's something I reviewed in November of 2022. Go dig around my YouTube channel, you'll find it. I noticed the episode shared elements with Ridley Scott's best-known horror film. To me, the resemblance seemed obvious, and if not intentionally done, then certainly a good use of common concepts. Although one or two cases, I think there were a few definite homages. There was a shot of a Federation spaceship done up to look like the spaceship in Alien, the crashed one. And that was something I was reminded of watching Hegemony. Parasitic aliens, a base under siege, even a riff, a sequence of notes in the soundtrack of Hegemony that sounded familiar, a sort of doot, 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 doot motif that sounded a lot like one used in Alien. It's about 24, if you're going to go and look, it's about 24 minutes into the episode where we first meet Scotty. And it matches 3 minutes into the 2 hour or so theatrical cut of Aliens that I've got, the original Alien is, as the camera's panning through the Nostromo. That is either a coincidence or a good old-fashioned homaging, or blatant homaging if you want to put it like that. But music aside, the thematic resemblances to Alien and Aliens, the sequel, is there. It's definitely there, I think. We can look at Hegemony and Aliens, and we're looking at the same basic idea. A heavily armed crew having to rescue a group of abandoned colonists who may or may not be alive and are threatened by a parasitic, monstrous alien. Saying that, Aliens has a far doomier feel to it than Hegemony, and Hegemony ends with the dreaded phrase, "to be continued," which possibly means there's a happy ending somewhere. There are definitely differences, though. Hegemony reminds us that the Gorn are intelligent beings. They're not the animal-like creatures that the xenomorphs of the Alien franchise are. They have spaceships, after all, and space suits. In the fight between the Gorn adult and Spock in one scene in Hegemony, we see that the creature is wearing a spacesuit, a highly advanced environment suit to protect itself in a hostile non-atmosphere. Yes, there's similarities, but yes, there's differences as well. There's possibly more to say here, that this isn't necessarily the first time a Star Trek show has nodded towards other things. I mean, there's possibly an argument that the Borg, for example, are the Star Trek equivalent to the Cybermen in Doctor Who. But I think moving on to focus on the second series as a whole would possibly be a good idea about now. What did I make of this second series? And what do I think is possibly happening elsewhere? I have to admit, I felt the first series of Strange New Worlds was very good indeed. All the way from the opening episode, Strange New Worlds itself, to the closing one, A Quality of Mercy, and veering through my personal favourite episode from the first season, Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. If that episode is not a nod to Ursula K. Le Guin, I am a duck. It's a powerful, well-written, well-acted season, and one I felt managed to capture the spirit of the original series very well. Can we say the same of this second series? Yes, we can. If anything, Season 2 of Strange New Worlds is even more strongly written and acted, and its Gorn-laden finale tells us emphatically there is going to be a Season 3. To be continued, remember? Even if that to be continued is going to have a big gap because of the current Hollywood strike. I personally, whatever I might think of the rights and wrongs of those strikes, I can only hope that they are resolved as soon as possible, because I'd seriously like to see Season 3, and see it soon, and see the conclusion of this story in that opening first episode. Frankly, I do not know when that third season is going to be. Given the Borg seem to have been phased out of Star Trek's Big Bad at the end of Season 3 of Picard, I think Star Trek Strange New Worlds may be grooming the Borg to replace them. We'll have to see, as and when that third series gets made and released to us, the public. We'll have to see what happens there, and what happens in any other potential Star Trek series. As for what I'll be reviewing next, I honestly don't know. Obviously, come November, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials are going to be mentioned, or going to be aired, and you can bet your bum I am going to be glued to and reviewing those. But whatever else is on the menu, I will suggest to you this. You keep your eyes on my blog, Nick Knight's Old Peculiar, and on my YouTube channel, at Mr. Cuddy2977. Whatever I want to watch next, I'll be telling you all about it. Keep your eyes peeled, live long and prosper, and to quote the immortal words of Patrick McGowan, be seeing you.